Talk about the opponent in a minute here, Coach, but let's focus on your team first, coming off a thorough domination of Indiana State in your opener and then had a bye week. How do you feel about the timing of the bye leading into this big game against the Irish?
You know, when the schedule first came out, I was like, dang, it's going to be awkward playing a game, you know, all the hype and build up going into the season and having to rest for a week. But we had a couple of guys that got dinged up during fall camp that'll be back. And so the bye week was actually much needed. We're able to really hone in on some technique and fundamentals to clean up from that first week. And like I said, get guys back healthy so we're ready to go on Saturday.
It's interesting to me, Ryan, your approach to this game, because a lot of coaches will say, every game's the same and we don't emphasize one opponent over another. You have not shied away this week and even in the preseason, as we saw, from pointing out that this is a big game, that you've had this game circled for a long time, that you're excited about it. Why have you chosen to take that approach, to treat this game with a little bit of heightened importance versus some other games?
Because it's the truth. You know, a lot of times I think there's a lot of coach talk, right? Like every game is the same. You know, we're just as excited as we would be every week. You know, it is Notre Dame. They are ranked. You know, it'll be a sellout crowd, non-conference game. You know, it's everything is right there. It's a great opportunity. So why shy away from the facts? And so, you know, we've embraced it. We knew this season and the schedule was going to be challenging, and it starts with this one. So our guys been attacking the preparation, and we're excited to go play.
You grew up around the sport. Your dad played at Colorado back when Colorado and Notre Dame were playing some really important games. You played at Colorado as well. What are your earliest memories of Notre Dame and kind of its place in the college football pecking order?
Yeah, I mean, Rocket Ishmael, that was like, he was the guy. You know, he would make game-changing plays, had a heck of a career at Notre Dame, and those are my first memories.
How have you conveyed the importance of this game to your players?
You know, we talked about you know, obviously we know what everybody has ranked us in terms of where we stack in the Big Ten. And so the whole offseason just been about earning respect and proving what we believe to be true. And so this is just an opportunity for us to go out there and do so.
You mentioned where everyone had you stacking up in the Big Ten. There was an unofficial preseason media poll, which I'm sure you are well aware of, which picked Purdue 18th out of 18. To what extent did you use that as motivation for your guys?
Again, like, I'm not shying away from facts, right? And so if there have been media polls out there, then I've showed them. If there's been articles out there talking about our quarterback or where we stack as a program, I've showed them. You know, I'd be naive to think that they didn't hear it from, you know, friends, family, people on campus, or themselves, right? Like, everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got access to social media. So, you know, I thought it'd be best to just address it and talk about the elephant in the room heading into fall camp.
The vibe has to be incredible with Notre Dame coming to town. Give me a sense of kind of the feel on campus as you build up to Saturday.
Yeah, you know, I haven't really been on campus, right? We've been locked away.
You're cloistered away, right?
But the vibe in our building is a calm, confident one, and I'm excited to see, you know, what that translates to and what that looks like on Saturday.
How about the timing from their point of view? We were talking about the timing from your point of view, but I mean, they are coming off of a devastating loss. They were the biggest story in college football on Saturday for all of the wrong reasons. What do you expect from Notre Dame coming into this game, given how this season has gone for them 2 games in?
Yeah, I expect them to be angry. I expect them to be motivated to go play their best game, and not overlook us or take the game lightly. You know, I know Coach Freeman's going to have those guys fired up, and offensively, defensively, special teams, they'll be ready to execute, and we're going to get their best shot. That's what I fully expect.
You know, you were talking a moment ago about you knew what people had said about your quarterback. They were saying really good things about your quarterback coming out of that Indiana State game because statistically, Hudson Card had one of the best games in the history of college football. I mean, one incompletion in that game. There was a lot of hype about him when he transferred last year from Texas. I know when we were there in the preseason last year, he had a phenomenal practice, and we certainly talked him up quite a bit. It was an uneven year for Hudson. I think there were some moments where we really saw how good he could be. He had the injury problems. But what did it mean to see him get off to such a strong start?
You know, I was just happy for him. Wasn't surprised. Like you said, we see him in practice all the time. And last year was last year. You know, his first year in the system. It's you know, different guys in and out of the lineup up front. It's you know, different wideouts that you know were or were not making plays for him. And so now he's year two. He's matured as a leader. He understands where to go with the football and how to get us in and out of good plays. And you know, the talent just sort of takes over. And you know, I was teasing with him the other day. I was like, "Hey, how's it feel to be the most accurate man in college football?"
Well, he's got a challenge here against Notre Dame. I mean, again, they're 1-1, and I get all that, but man, their pass defense coach has been fabulous statistically here. So, what is the challenge that the Irish present for Hudson?
Yeah, like you said, they've got some experience, especially in the back end. They do a good job of mixing up coverages and trying to take away what you like to do. And so, you know, we'll have to win some one-on-one matchups, and we'll have to protect him up front. And he's just got to go out there and be Hudson Card and be confident and be decisive about where he's going with the football and trusting his guys to go make plays for him.
How about your defense? You know, last year I know it wasn't quite where you wanted it to be in your first year. I know to a certain extent maybe it's hard to gauge, with all due respect to Indiana State. I mean, it's just a different level of football than the teams you're going to play the rest of the way. But what did you learn about that side of the ball in week one?
Just that we know the scheme. We know how to fit different run schemes. We know how to communicate and how to adjust in game. And you know, we play tough and physical. You know, that's what I've seen from this group since spring ball. There's been a lot of growth and a lot of carryover from guys that were here a year ago, and the guys that we've added have really embraced their roles on the team and have had fun, you know, with what we're doing defensively.
One of the things I've talked a lot with coaches and ADs about, particularly in this new era with the 12-team playoff and trying to get the schedule right, and the non-conference schedule in particular. You guys have this game against Notre Dame. You obviously open with Indiana State. Then you go on the road to Oregon State, which I realize is kind of in this nether world. But for all intents and purposes, that's a power conference opponent. Purdue has never shied away from playing big-time opponents in the non-conference. What do you feel like, as Purdue's coach, is the right balancing act between getting your team ready for the season, having games that would be of interest to the fans, but also building some confidence and, frankly, building up your record?
Yeah, you know, I've had plenty of discussions about this. And, you know, some of the games are already slated and have been implemented years ago. But I do think, you know, if you look at, like you said, the 12-team playoff and the best way to help your path to get there, like the strength of the schedule doesn't really matter anymore. You know, in the Big Ten, we play 9 conference games. That's more than, you know, our counterparts in the SEC. So I think you got to take that into consideration as well. And so I think in a perfect world, you know, you have an FCS type school, you have like 2 mid-majors, you know what I'm saying, and then get into conference play.
So would you not want to continue playing Notre Dame going forward, or is that game different?
I mean, I enjoy it because it's an in-state, it's a rival, and there's a storied program. But if you're asking what is the best model for a school in the Big Ten to give us the best chance to make a playoff, I think the model I previously stated is the way to go.
All right, interesting. I'll leave you with this, Coach. Final thought. What could this game mean to your program on Saturday?
You know, it's a opportunity, like I said, to sort of prove yourself, and it's just another opportunity to compete and get better before we get to to Big Ten play. So I'm excited to see where we stack up. I know our guys are ready to go compete, and we'll see where it's at after the ball is tipped off.
Ryan, can't wait to watch this game on Saturday. Should be an unbelievable atmosphere at Ross-Ade. Have fun, good luck, and thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us.
Appreciate you, Boiler Up.